Heads up, most of this video was filmed on September 10th. Stick around to the end for the most up-to-date details. Okay, on with the video. I think it just needs to be said, DistroKid is awful, and they've got a lot of problems, and if they don't fix them, this could ruin a lot of content creators both on YouTube and the music world. For those who don't know, DistroKid is an independent digital music distribution service founded in 2013 by American entrepreneur Philip J. Pud Kaplan. Now, I don't know any of the original founders personally, and I don't know what their original intentions were. I'm just going to talk about my own personal experiences and my brother's personal experiences with our own content that we've created and how that's crossed paths with DistroKid unintentionally. So to set the scene, my name is Carrie Huang, and I have a twin brother, Michael Huang. And we were really inspired by the TV show Total Drama Island to create our own animated web series on YouTube called Battle for Dream Island, also known as BFDI. The first season ran from 2010 to 2012, and we made 25 animated episodes once a month, just in our own free time between doing middle school homework at the time. At the same time, my brother Michael was also experimenting with music production. I guess I myself am not super familiar with that whole field, but he got very good at it. He produced at least 100 songs, which I'll show a screenshot here, but he didn't release them to the public quite yet because I think that he wanted to sort of master his craft a little more before showing himself publicly. Anyway, in the first season of BFDI, I should admit that we were using a lot of royalty-free music that other people provided, such as Kevin MacLeod's music through Incompetech, the most notable being New Friendly. Now, we have the right to use this because it's royalty-free, and we give him credit in every single video, so that's not the problem. The problem is that Michael's music that he made, which we didn't release publicly anywhere, we did start to put into our fourth season of Battle for Dream Island, called BFB, which started in 2017. Now, originally, when we first started adding Michael's music as the soundtrack of BFB, we saw it more like a convenience. Just the fact that we didn't have to use other people's music and start getting entangled in a bunch of copyright claims and copyright strikes. We can just put in the music that my brother made, because my brother and I collaborate all the time on our online projects, and it's totally cool. We'll never get a claim because the only people who own this music is Michael. But regardless, the BFDI fans who had originally come for the cartoons started to enjoy the BFB soundtrack music in and of itself. For example, Michael's SoundCloud, which he's slowly released music out like a trickle, used to be completely under the radar, but as soon as BFB started, it started getting more attention from the BFDI fanbase. In addition, a lot of members of the BFB fanbase enjoyed taking the original BFB episodes, downloading them, ripping out the sound files, and re-uploading just the music to YouTube in their own YouTube videos. Now, whether or not that's fair use is questionable, but I honestly just think it's really cool that people are enthused enough about our content to want to work with it, re-upload it, re-enjoy it in different versions. So that, I'm cool with that. But a big thing to point out is that throughout all of these 8 years of Michael's music production, he's never signed up with a record label or partnered with a distribution platform. So within YouTube's content ID system, there's just no trace of his content. Really, Michael's music only exists as .wav files on his computer. So when other people, like other YouTubers and BFDI fans, incorporate Michael's music in the backgrounds of their videos, obviously YouTube's not going to notice it, but that's fine because Michael and I just enjoy our content being in the ecosystem of the internet and seeing it being mixed and mastered and mashed with all other types of stuff. So the fact that YouTube's content ID system wouldn't stand up for Michael's intellectual property was not the problem. The problem was that starting around 2 months ago, the YouTube content ID system was picking up Michael's music but not in our name. That was really confusing. What was going on? So the first sign that I noticed that something was wrong was when one YouTuber sent a message to another YouTuber, 111 Roblox dude, who sent a message to me showing this screenshot. What was in that screenshot? He used a piece of music Michael made called Night Mote in his video. And the screenshot shows that his video, which has Sonic's weird face, but anyway, it was copyright claimed for using Night Mote by this company called Interstreet Recordings on behalf of BFDI Music Record. Now, to a general BFDI fan, they have no way of knowing who BFDI Music Record really is. I mean, I know it wasn't me or Michael because, again, we've never done anything in the kind of distribution platform world, but to the average BFDI fan, they could think that that's us. And so I think there was a wave of people in our fan base who were concerned that me and Michael were claiming their videos and profiting from them, when that wasn't true. This BFDI Music Record person was completely unrelated to us, a random internet user. So, in addition to this random internet user being able to take all the ad revenue from all the YouTube videos that used Michael's music, it also felt like theft of intellectual property and like reputation or something, because people were starting to think that me and Michael were the greedy bad guys when we weren't. We didn't do anything. So just to clarify once and for all, BFDI Music and us are completely different people. So I wanted to dig a little deeper, but I kind of felt like an outsider because I had no way of contacting this BFDI Music person or Interstreet Recordings. So I decided to do a little digging and I found this website for Interstreet Recordings. But this website's kind of sparse. It doesn't have much information as to who's behind it, why it was created, and how they operate, or even how to contact them. There's like nothing. There are a few links though. I feel like the statement that the content ID is automated is a way of saying our hands are off. We don't manually check for any music. It's just this giant computer, so don't blame us. But regardless, there is this section at the bottom that links to other places, specifically DistroKid. And when I first came here, I was kind of confused because are Interstreet Recordings and DistroKid the same company or different? I still don't really know, but I know they're closely tied. Also, when they say, did YouTube get it wrong? It's kind of hard to explain what's going on here because YouTube technically got it right in finding Michael's Night Moat song in that Sonic video. So the content ID was technically correct, but the issue was with assigning who was the owner of that song. So anyway, when I was doing a little more research as to what DistroKid was, I found a few YouTube videos explaining it, which I might play here.
So what is DistroKid? DistroKid is a service that acts as a middleman between you and the online music stores and streaming services out there. If you have a song, a beat, or pretty much any audio to share with the world, DistroKid distributes it for you.
But essentially, it seems like a place where you can super easily upload your own music files, and without them really being double-checked, DistroKid will take on the task of uploading your music to as many platforms as possible.
So where do they distribute? Well, virtually everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, YouTube Music, Pandora, Savin, iHeartRadio, and lots more.
So DistroKid will say like, sign up at this one shop and we'll cover all these like 20 different shops for you.
You could stop at 5 or 6 stores, or just one.
There's this page on DistroKid's website called YouTube Money, which I think is kind of a suspicious name, but I think that's the system by which the original musician will get paid if that WAV file is found on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, whatever, and sort of the revenue streams will all be collected into one place under DistroKid's umbrella called YouTube Money and given to the musician. The issue is that musician is not always the original creator. I don't really think DistroKid has a way of verifying that that music came from the person who claims it did. And why do I think that? Well, because they got it very, very wrong in this instance. Also, notice that this is the same page where DistroKid says that YouTube may send the copyright claim under the name of Audiyam or Interstreet Recordings, and those are DistroKid's services. Now, fortunately, there's a lot of good people in the BFDI fandom, also called the Object Show community, and these people eventually pieced together what was happening, and they found both on Instagram and Discord the identity of the person who was actually behind this BFDI Music account.
I guess you could argue that I should protect this person's privacy by blurring their usernames.
But if they're gonna take our username and use it against us, then I'll just do the same back to them. So their Discord account is Objection3. I know that doesn't give the full information, but whatever. And you can see that they outright admit, I'm behind this channel linking to the BFDI Music YouTube topic. So as soon as this BFDI Music person, aka Objection 3, found all of Michael's music, since Michael gives it away for free online, and then upload them to DistroKid's platform, claiming to be the owner of it, and then YouTube's Content ID system will know about it, and if it identifies any of those WAV files in a YouTube video uploaded by any other YouTuber, YouTube will redirect all the ad revenue to that random internet user, with the warning saying that your video has been claimed by BFDI Music, which a lot of people are starting to believe leads back to us being greedy. So I just felt like I was getting the short end of the stick here, and I just needed to right this wrong.
I mean, I don't think I have to prove this person's guilt because...
In the same Discord server, Objection 3 says, "Did you get copyright claimed? Because yes, I'm not whitelisting you to not be content ID'd. Fuck you all."
If you want to know the person behind it, it is me. Who cares? I can copyright claim everyone. Yes, I can. Who cares? YouTube isn't gonna take down a topic channel.
So, like, you just outright admitted it. Now, another thing that's a little frustrating is that I tried to contact DistroKid themselves to get this whole thing removed by both tweeting at them, Twitter DMing them, sending them emails.
After all that, it still hasn't been resolved. My videos and Michael's videos showing off his own music are still being claimed by the thief who claims to own that music.
And also trying to work through their submission ticket system, which they said was going to take 7 to 10 business days to respond to because they get too many emails, and it's like, pretty please don't message us. All of that was kind of unproductive and led me on this long chain of emails where nothing really got done, and the burden of proving who owned the music was on me. I had to prove why this person wasn't the original creator. Along this conversation, it felt like DistroKid kept asking me to send them links to all the infringing releases, and I tried to send them links to what I could access, like I found this Spotify playlist and the YouTube playlist. But since DistroKid releases to a dozen, maybe 20 different platforms.
If you have a song, a beat, or pretty much any audio to share with the world, DistroKid distributes it for you. Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, YouTube Music, Pandora, Summon, iHeartRadio. Yeah, your track is going everywhere. Everywhere.
Since DistroKid releases to maybe 20 different platforms, was the obligation now on me to hunt down every single link on all 20 platforms to get it taken down? It feels like I had to be responsible for the cleanup of the sort of splash damage spread of illegal music. Also, this is sort of on a tangent, but why did all the DistroKid employees have
cartoons or Snapchat filters as their profile pictures? Isn't this supposed to be a company where I'm talking to professional representatives? I mean, you're allowed to have fun with how you display yourself, but this general pattern made me feel like I was talking to a bunch of middle schoolers.
Thirdly, or whatever number we're on at this point, I couldn't find a way of going onto DistroKid's website and finding the account page of BFDI Music. And I had the suspicion that you have to be a user of DistroKid to see other people's user pages on DistroKid. I'm not really sure about this. But when I thought to myself, okay, I'll just create a DistroKid account just to see if I now have the ability to see BFDI Music's account, well, that costs $19 a month or something. I never signed up to be part of the system. In the ideal world, I would have never interacted with DistroKid. Why am I now being asked to pay $20 a month just to clear my name? So with this limited access as to what the internals of DistroKid's database really looked like, I just felt like I had to send everything I had, which includes screenshots of like Instagram pages, which didn't feel like enough proof, but I also sent, that YouTube playlist and the Spotify playlist, and I also sent links to Michael's SoundCloud, which went back to 2016, proving that he was the original person who composed the music. And I felt like if you were a human looking at this situation, that's all you need to know, that that's where the music came from first. But it just felt like they kept putting up more walls and more reasons why I didn't have enough proof to take down this account. And I just feel like if you want to stay a respectable, believable music distribution service, you need to have a way of identifying that when this musician says, hey, I produced song A, you can actually say, oh yeah, you did produce song A. Because what I feel like has happened now is Michael is paying the price for not monetizing his music. From an outsider's perspective, you might think, oh, if a musician just has a really good heart is a very generous, caring person, then they wouldn't put their music in any platform and they'd let people share it freely and listen to it freely. No charge, no money, nothing is exchanged at all. But what actually happens is that if you do that, there'll be some other person online who will find that gap in every distribution platform's databases and try to fill it with their own name. So in a way, the good guys are hurt in this instance, and you have to sort of put your grubby hands on the music and own it monetarily in order to just defend yourself from this theft. Do you want to know what I think is most ironic about this situation? I have used Michael's music in my own videos not about BFDI. Also, Michael has a YouTube channel, Yoil Cake, dedicated to music videos slash visualizers showcasing his own music. As in, there's no point to the channel besides promoting his music. But BFDI Music, through DistroKid and Interstreet Recordings, has claimed those videos. And I'll put some screenshots here. And I just think that's the most ridiculous thing. Our own videos with our own music is being claimed by someone else. This is like that Fat Rat situation from a few years ago. That's just baffling. If anyone should feel safe uploading Sweeper or Coins or 2012 pieces that Michael has made to YouTube, it should be Michael, but even he's not safe. And that's just super ironic and distro pointing. Now, of course, I didn't want to be the scary bad guy in anyone's eyes. Ideally, we could try to come together and sort out this misunderstanding peacefully. So, as soon as I found BFDI Music's Instagram account, I thought I'll try to hop into their DMs or whatever and just negotiate, talk to them as a human and figure out what's really going on. So when I had this conversation, I tried to give them as much leeway as possible. I first assumed that they weren't even the person who did anything wrong and I was just asking questions. But I just think that throughout this conversation, the fact that they were sending me such short responses,
It became very clear to me
that this person really didn't want to talk face to face or just, have a natural conversation about what's happening. My guess is this person wanted to put up a wall so that I couldn't communicate with them clearly. And this was further validated by the fact that after I had sent some messages trying to get through to them, I found out on a different Discord server that they were proud that because I follow their Instagram account now to talk to them, that I must have seen their Sonic porn. So at this point, I think all bets are off.
if I wanted this music theft issue resolved,
I couldn't do it by just asking the thief to take it down. Like, they didn't want to do that from the start. And I tried doing it through DistroKid's customer service for weeks. And by the end, they just said like, oh, you're clearly not the actual creator of the music. And no, I'm not. I mean, it's my twin brother, but we live in the same house. We work together on everything. I was like, fine, you want Michael? You get Michael. Even though he's essentially going to send the same exact messages, the same exact proof that I just did, DistroKid was going to do everything in their power to make it as difficult as possible to get this stolen music taken down. And I think these claims of like, oh, you need to get the actual owner of the music, or oh, those links don't count because they don't actually link to BFDI Music's DistroKid page, which I can't even access, like all of that just feels like a way of making it more difficult because DistroKid doesn't want to get their hands messy in this problem. They're just a giant automated system and they want to keep cranking that machine to get that ad revenue. I don't know if they take a percentage. They take
$20 a year.
from their users. So, as long as 99% of users are correct when they say they own the music, let's keep cranking the machine and getting more money from them. But there's 1% of those users who are lying, and you have to fix those problems when they arise. I just feel like they want to wish in their brains that they have no troublemakers in their system. So when they're alerted about the existence of those 1%, they just close their eyes and they say, go away, go away. Oh, you're the original creator of the music? I don't believe it. That's not true. In my head, all of our users are good people, and you're not a user, so I just don't want to deal with you. You're not making us any money. That's just how I feel about this whole situation. So without the avenue to talk to DistroKid's community service or the actual BFDI Music Instagram person, I feel like this is my only avenue left. I just have to say it on YouTube to as many people as possible. I mean, here was another tactic that DistroKid pulled on us that I feel like is all too common on these large platforms that doesn't feel fair. They said, oh, if this is a dispute between you and BFDI Music, here's BFDI Music's email, go negotiate with them. And I feel like that's such a cop-out because who knows if this other party is even willing to cooperate. Sometimes they're just an evil entity, and the only person who can fix it is the platform controlling it all, meaning DistroKid has the power to ban this other user. And the weirdest thing is is that the email they sent me was actually not the email owned by the BFDI Music thief. Here's what happened. I'm gonna put in a placeholder email address because I don't want to leak an innocent person's email, of course. So let's just say it was fieryfrombfdi@hfluence.net. That's fake. So DistroKid sends me this email and says, you two go sort that out on your own. So I messaged fieryfrombfdi@hfluence.net and it comes back from an innocent person who's not responsible for the BFDI music theft, who's the guy who initially sent 111 Roblox dude that screenshot way back at the start of this story. What happened was, this email originally belonged to the BFDI music guy was able to compromise it because maybe it had a weak password or something, and then use that account, which they now had access to, as a throwaway to create the DistroKid account. And so the weird result about all of this and the BFDI music guy have already been in communication, I think because of this email compromising matter. Their friends have been trying to talk to the BFDI music guy to sort out the email matter, but when you message the BFDI music guy, they'll just respond by saying, ho, you a lame insult, or the N-word. And I mean, there's no proof, it's just a he said, she said story. But given the behavior I've seen from this person online, including our personal DMs, it just seems to line up with that sort of personality. And so in summary, this person just doesn't want to be cooperative, although you probably could have already guessed that. So after all of this, the reason why I feel like this video is more calling out DistroKid than that BFDI music person is because I feel like individuals who act that way will always exist. There's just billions of people and there will always be one or two who want to kind of take shots at you. But I think it's the responsibility of the larger platforms, the institutions, to make sure that those people don't get more power. DistroKid, like any platform, needs to have a way of moderating and controlling their users, especially if they misbehave. And it's a given that if you grow large, you will start to have people like that. So I think the biggest oopsie of this story really falls on DistroKid. And maybe Michael for not putting his music on iTunes or something. No, actually no, that's not true. No one has the obligation to do that. So I'm really disappointed. I might be repeating myself at this point, but it just feels so ridiculous that a random internet user could just start collecting up music files from a different musician and then without any credentials or proof that they made the music at all, they can just say, this music's mine. Like, you know that webcomic with the stick figures that are holding the ball? Like, this is mine now. And DistroKid just says, sure. But not only do they say sure, they give them the avenues, some of the most powerful tools on the internet to just claim all the videos that are using that music as their own, and they're pulling in the ad revenue. I don't know how much money they're making, but like, there are BFDI videos that aren't ours with 4 million, 5 million views. If they accidentally use Michael's music because it plays in the background of BFDI episodes, that money's going to BFDI music. I don't see how you could just sit by and let that happen if you're DistroKid. And the fact that they do, I just think shows that they don't really care about the integrity of like where the music actually came from.
Okay, that's the end of the filmed part of this video. Everything up until this point, I recorded about a week ago. So I should let you guys know about a few updates that have happened since then. First, I want to say that I'm not of the personality to enjoy exposing people. The reason why I presented certain emails and DMs I got were to provide evidence to people that I had already explored every avenue possible before resorting to this. Basically, I didn't want commenters to be able to play devil's advocate by saying you didn't send enough emails or you didn't try to act cooperative enough. The details are all laid out so that everybody is on the same page about what I did and what other people did. From here on out though, I'll try to keep this story as private as possible. Secondly, and this is good news, it seems like DistroKid is indeed removing BFDI music songs from different platforms. It's disappeared from Spotify, Amazon, TikTok, and Angami, which is a really good sign. I want to give a huge thanks to whichever DistroKid representative actually took those actions to get the music taken down. I'm still disappointed that it took so much effort to get to this point, but I'm also grateful that it has been fixed, mostly, in the end. I say the word mostly because within YouTube's Content ID system, BFDI music songs still have not been removed, so all the copyright claims I mentioned earlier from BFDI music on our videos are still there. And even if this does get resolved, that BFDI music person still gets to walk away with all the revenue they've accrued over the last 3 months of this fiasco happening. And there's nothing we can really do to get that money back to the countless people who have voiced concern to us that their videos had been demonetized for using Michael's music in that time period. Regardless of how this situation ends up, the problem is not just this specific instance. It's a more structural problem of the way these websites are built to function in the first place. And I guess that gets into the nitty-gritty of how they even allow people to create accounts, verify their identity, and upload music. And I must admit, I'm not a legal expert, so I definitely won't offer legal advice. But I hope that the last 20 minutes have made it clear that there is still an unacceptable problem with how distribution services like DistroKid are run. I thank them for eventually complying to our requests, but I shouldn't have had to ask them so many times in the first place. Anyway, this video's long enough, so to you viewers, thanks for watching and goodbye.